Israel has resumed the violent part of their genocide against the people of Palestine, particularly the people in Gaza. So starting 2 days ago, the 18th of March, I believe, Israel decided they're going to start killing Palestinians once again. So we're going to look at two Al Jazeera articles. This first one is from actually the day of the bombings started, and the other one we're going to look at is from today, or at least the day of recording, which is the 20th of March. So, first of all, why are we here? Well, Israel signed a ceasefire that Joe Biden had brought forward in May last year, even though it was technically a different ceasefire that I think Hamas had brought forward as well. And then Biden was like, nah, Jack, that's my idea. And then Israel said, no, we don't want to do that. It's too kind to the Palestinians. And then Joe Biden was like, yeah, we don't want to sign that. And I'm like, you bought it, you bloody, old man. But anyway, that aside, they eventually were forced into signing it, or at least they signed it right before the Trump presidency, which says a lot about the Democrats, being able to be like, hey, let's just gift Donald Trump this ceasefire instead of pushing for it last May and saving tens of thousands of lives. They don't care as long as it's brown people dying and they're making money, obviously. But in that ceasefire, I felt, and I think I made a video on this, there's way too much wiggle room. It gave Israel way too much wiggle room to keep killing Palestinians, which they did. They kept bombing Palestinians despite the ceasefire. And it gave them way too much wiggle room to allow them to just continue killing Palestinians after the first phase. And that's what they did. After the first phase, apparently a Trump appointee was like, oh, here's the idea. Scrap the ceasefire that the international community agreed on. Let's go for something which was like, Israel will stop murdering you until Passover, and then you give all of the hostages away, and we say nothing about the Palestinians. And Hamas were like, no, that's a terrible idea. And so Israel, with the full backing of the United States, both parties, to be honest, decided they're going to start murdering Palestinians again. So if we look here, on the first night, 400 Palestinians, many of them children, were killed as Israel resumed the full-fledged bombing of Gaza, plunging the Strip into uncertainty and shattering a fragile ceasefire with Hamas that Israel had routinely violated over several weeks. Routinely violated is important to note because over the entirety of the 6 weeks of the ceasefire, what Israel was doing was violating it. They didn't allow aid in, they didn't allow food in, they kept killing people, whether it be with snipers or bombing. They didn't take soldiers out of key areas, they didn't allow people to return home, and Netanyahu is saying this is just the beginning. Israel is a colony of the United States. The United States does not care how many people must die for them to achieve their goals. What are their goals? Money. Money primarily for the politicians. All of these politicians have money invested in Israel, have money invested in companies that have a vested interest in Israel, or vested interest in somewhere where they can build or they can set up businesses, and Gaza is real estate for them. Both parties, Democrats, Republicans, they don't care. As long as they make money, they don't care how many people they kill. And that is the problem with our politicians, not just in the United States, here in the UK as well. We have multiple politicians defending Israel's actions, many of whom have ties to Israel, many of whom have ties to big businesses. Capitalism is the root cause of all of this. They want to murder people. The colony wants to murder people so they can make money. Maybe they don't think they can exterminate everyone in Gaza, but they're sure as hell trying to move them out of Gaza, so then there's no opposition to them being able to make money. And that is quite simplified. Obviously, there are probably other layers to it as well, but that is an overarching view. And just the willingness to murder people en masse to ensure your own interests are protected, primarily financial interests, is disgusting. Now, this was from the 18th. Let's look at an article from today, the 20th. Israel decided to expand into a ground assault. So on the first night, they killed 400 people. On the second night, they killed about 100 people. This is 91. I think the figure now is about 100. And then they decided to do a ground invasion. This is all so Israel can put the fear in the Palestinians, can force the Palestinians to flee, and then eventually be like, hey, there's no one here, let's move in. And it's their whole mythos, a land for people in a land without people. That's a lie. There were people there, obviously, hence the Nakba. They attacked people's homes in northern parts of Gaza. Just seeing the images of families just crying. And then Hamas decided, hey, wait, you guys violated the ceasefire, let's fight back. And let's be honest, the West is going to use this as an excuse. Be like, see, Hamas started it. And then they'll try and whitewash the fact that Israel started murdering Palestinians en masse 3 days beforehand. Albanese, who is the UN rapporteur, was on Channel 4, I believe, and Channel 4 was trying to say, well, it's kind of legal that what Israel's doing, right? And Albanese was like, no, it's not. It's a contradiction of human rights, of the ceasefire, of just international law. All of it is a flagrant abandon of international law. And once again, a Western ally won't get punished, or at least other countries who have a backbone will try and punish them, and the West will try and stop them. We saw Britain try and stop South Africa. We saw Germany try and stop South Africa. We saw the United States try and stop South Africa. They're all going to do the same thing. And it's so infuriating. It is so infuriating. So I'm going to calm down. What can we do? Obviously, it is going to be difficult for us to actually physically stop what's happening in Gaza. What we can do is, through any methods necessary, we can get them aid, we can get them help, Do we get them out? I don't know, because people want to leave to be safe, but people also don't want to leave because why must they be forced to leave their homes? And so the leaving thing, I don't know. I don't know. But other means, aid, other ways we can do it, pressuring our governments. I know they don't care. I know they don't listen. But we have to force them to listen through any means we can. Direct action, obviously, it's one way of doing it. It's scary. Not everyone is going to do direct action. Am I going to do direct action? I don't know. I doubt it. Direct action is stuff like the people who are physically breaking into Barclays banks, destroying weapons manufacturers around the country. Amazing stuff. If we aren't going to be the ones doing the direct action, you and I, maybe just me, we need to support the people who do it. Look for bail funds for those people. Look for finding ways to help with legal defense. Look for ways of raising awareness for those who may be put in jail to pressure the government to release them. That's what is like tertiary to their direct action. Alternatives, go to marches, go to protests. I know people keep saying to you, it doesn't matter, it doesn't do anything. And it can feel like that. We've been marching and protesting for 2 years, but keep going, keep showing your face, keep being a nuisance, keep hindering your government in any way you can, because that's the only way they're going to listen. Boycotts. Obviously, it's weird talking about it from just a capitalistic extent, but genuinely, boycotts work. They have to be sustained for a long time. The apartheid boycotts took decades. We have to really get that mass movement to boycott. We're seeing even Target lost money because of their rolling back of quote-unquote DEI policies in the US. Boycotts work. And if anyone tells you they don't work, if anyone tells you you're stupid, ignore them. They are wrong. You are right to boycott. Look at the BDS list. Look at their social pages. I think their social pages are updated far more frequently than their website. So look at the BDS movement's social pages to do that. Also, another one, I think it's underappreciated. If you have a skill, use that skill to raise awareness. I bang on about this in other videos. If you're an artist, make art. Share the art. If you're a writer, write something, share it. Fiction or non-fiction. Fiction does feel a bit weird, but non-fiction less so. If you're a singer, create a song. Maybe the proceeds from the song or proceeds from all of this art can go towards helping Palestinians, whether they're ones who have already been displaced or ones currently in Gaza and the West Bank, which is being attacked every day by Israel and Israeli settlers. If you're a sports personality or someone who's good at sports, represent Palestine in your sport, talk about it. In your workplace, discuss with your colleagues. I know some of your colleagues might be a bit like, I don't want to talk about politics. Make them uncomfortable. Make them sit there. If your HR talks to you, say, why are you trying to stop me talking about politics? Are you trying to hinder my personal beliefs? It's agitating. It's not quite the same as the direct action that is, like stopping boats leaving ports, stopping arms manufacturers operating in your country. But it's like a secondary layer. Like the people who are helping the people doing the direct action, it's another layer. It's another way of agitating. Because these politicians, no matter how many times we shout and scream at them, you email them, you phone them, they're not going to care. They're not going to really say anything. They'll give you a boilerplate response. I know. I did it for years. Ever since I knew I could email my MP. I did it for years and it was always the same boilerplate responses, regardless of what it was. And unfortunately, just doing that won't work. But hitting their bottom lines is the biggest thing. Because all these people care about is money. Our politicians, their politicians, the Israeli government, the US government, the UK government. All they care about is their money. So make it difficult for them to make their money. Make it hard for their money. Obviously, that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal would be a revolution. But it's groundwork, isn't it? Having to operate within the capitalist structure, that's the groundwork. Other than that, try and join leftist organizations if you're old enough. Obviously, if you're an adult like myself, try and join a local leftist organization. Even if you don't completely align with them, see if you can join them. And also, you can leave. You can leave if you don't align with them. Find somewhere else to join. Maybe get it in line with a hobby you have. If it's like a sports club, like a football club, or a football team that's left-wing, you do football and you talk about left-wing books and stuff afterwards or during it or before training, something like that. Isn't that such a great idea? It's an idea I'm trying to work on, actually, but I'm trying to make it come to fruition. Politics is every part of our life. The suffering of these people in Gaza and other parts of the world, it is all tied to us. It's all tied. We are all interconnected. No matter how hard our governments try and tell us that we aren't interconnected, no matter how hard our governments try and push individualistic values onto us, the entire global population is connected. We are connected from every single cell within us. We must resist. We must do what we can to help the Palestinian people. We must do anything that will help the oppressed.